record this? Okay, good evening, everybody. It's so good to see you back. So if you guys missed last week, Ryan shared about goals, and hopefully if you missed, you've had an opportunity to go and watch the replay. But he talked about no goals, no action. And I love what he said about when you start doubting yourself to take action. So I'm sure we all have moments of doubt, right? Did anybody doubt themselves since this time last week? Am I the only one? Surely I'm not the only one. So please tell me when you started doubting yourself that you actually took action when that doubt started creeping in. Tell us in the chat. I know it's hard to do, but I think, and Ryan, you may have said this, I don't know, but I think it's going to be like a muscle memory. Like every time we start doubting ourselves, we have to get into that action. Otherwise, we're going to continue holding ourselves back. So Ryan did actually tell me tonight is kind of where the rubber meets the road. And so I don't know about you guys, but I'm here for it and I'm ready. So Ryan, welcome.
Thank you so much. And while we're kicking things off, Stephanie, I really appreciate that. Will you give me sharing privileges? I know I don't share very well with others, but if you don't mind, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, so tonight is, we'll do like a little bit of a recap really quick to kind of dive into last week and the week before that. And we'll jump into that. So, but tonight I would love it to be a lot more interaction. If you guys don't mind, that would be fantastic. I've got the chat box up. I got the screen up. So if you guys would, let's have it be a little bit more interactive tonight as well. Just kind of thoughts and so on and so forth. So if you guys remember the first week, we talked about dreams, right? And we talked about the differences between a why and a dream. And so we talked about, here's the overall arching success cycle. So dreams lead to goals, right? Last week we talked about goals and big goals, little goals, you know, how all of that works. Tonight, we're going to talk about action, activity and action, and we're going to talk about results. And remember, the true success cycle is that, you know, you get your dreams and then you go into goals and then you go into activity, which we'll cover tonight. But then if you don't get the results that you want, you don't go back and change the dreams or you don't go back and change the goals, right? We go back and change the activity until we get the results that we want, and then we get success. And so tonight we're going to talk about a little bit around like how to measure those results and how to look at that. So tonight we're actually going to cover activity and we're actually going to cover results as well. Now it's a little bit, I don't want to say cumbersome because remember how I said, you know, we can relate this to Monat, we can relate this to other aspects of our life, like the true success cycle is the true success cycle. It doesn't change, right? So the activity, we'll base it a little bit and we'll talk a little bit about Monat and tie it into that. But you can, from that, hopefully you'll be able to get to that. So my hope and prayer for each and every one of you tonight is that you, like, it's really weird. Like in society, you know, we're always like growing and trying to get other people's approval. You know what I mean? And we don't want to let other people down. And it's really hard for us to, you know, like put ourselves first, right? Do you understand where I'm going with this? Like I'll do anything because I don't want to let you down, but I'm not necessarily as accountable to myself. And so my hope and prayer with each and every one of you tonight is that you realize that you are the most important person. Doesn't mean that we don't put other people first, right? Like I'm not trying to tell you to forget everything scriptural or everything else, but I'm just trying to say that tonight, like I want you to understand that you're the most important person. And when you hold yourself accountable, you'll become happier, thus influencing and helping other people in your life. Okay. So, that's my hope and prayer out of everything tonight, that you guys get that you are that most important person. So let's jump right into it and go for it. So Simon Sinek, anybody ever read any Simon Sinek books, right? Anyone? There's a great book that starts with Why, I believe it is. That's a red book. Do I have it up here? I don't know if I have it. It's somewhere in there. It's red. I know I can see the cover. It's in my other bookcase, but Simon Sinek starts with white, right? If you guys want the abbreviated version, his TED Talk, where that book actually originated. Oh, there it is, red and white. There you go. I got it. Nice job, Cassie. Yes, it is red and white. I was thinking it was red. Anyway, yeah. So there's a Cliff Note version of the starting with white on TED Talks. It's obviously 15 minutes, but that's where that book originated from and really kind of catapulted that. So this book, this here, words may inspire, but only action creates change. Do you remember last week we said hope is not a strategy, right? So you have that whole aspect of things, but words may inspire, right? But only action creates change. And that's really where Stephanie was starting off of it, where we left off last week, is that if you have doubt, go into action. If you have, if you got momentum, you got belief, you're excited, go into action, right? Like it's always action. It's always action. And I want you guys to think about, you know, as you're climbing a mountain, right? And it's have you guys ever been to the sand dunes? Like show of hands, anybody ever been to the sand dunes? And you're trying to climb the mountain and you're trying to climb as fast as you can. And if you stop, you start to slide down in the sand. You guys ever done that before? Anybody on here have been to the sand dunes? So I want you to think about that is life, right? Like we're either moving forward or we're sliding backwards. You can't stand still or life will pass you by. That's just a reality is that things are there. So words are great, but action always creates change. So let's jump into action here, right? And let's talk about some bullet points here. So how do you get yourself into action, right? So number one, stop, get up, and do it. Turn yourself into a doer. It's so funny. As I was writing this and putting this together, you guys ever seen the Home Depot commercial? You know, it's the doers, right? Like the doer store. But this is it, like action, activity, stop like what it is that's not getting you closer to your goals and dreams. Get up and start doing it and turn yourself into a doer. So why don't we throw into some of the, I love that, Ryan. I feel like I learned this in chemistry in the 8th grade. So what do you like? What are some activities or actions? Like, so start throwing some things in the comments that would help you move your Monat business forward. Anybody? Thoughts? You can come unmuted if you want to as well. Sample, events, yes. Sampling. Socials, yep. What else? Anybody talk to people? Yes, Nancy, yes. Talking to people, Jasmine, yes. How many of you guys doing a tutorial? Yes. How many of you guys, by a show of hands, has ever networking? Yes. How many of you have ever done a 3-way call before? Anybody ever do a 3-way call before? Okay, yeah, awesome. Okay, 3-way calls are a great opportunity. Remember the John Maxwell, right? It's not, it's connecting people to what it is they're looking for, right? So 3-way calls are fantastic. They're great. Stephanie, that's how I built my business, right? Absolutely. They're amazing. Cause you know, it's so funny. I had a mentor one time tell me, he said, Ryan, why do you think that you can get on an airplane, arrive in Hong Kong, walk in front of a room, and you're instantly the expert? Yet you can go to your home and go to your neighbors and give the same presentation, but you're not the expert, right? Edification, yes, that's a good one. And he said, he was so funny, he said, you're never going to be an expert in your neighbor's eyes because they've seen you take your garbage out in your underwear, right? Like they've seen you at your best and they've seen you at your worst, right? And he said, so it's so hard. He said, so that third party validation making, you know, is always really great. So edification is exactly right. One-on-one meetups is absolutely another good one, right? So I think it's really, I think, and again, it goes back to that Jim Rohn quote, when the why becomes strong enough, the how becomes easy. You guys know what to do. So let's dive into how we start the action. How do we start the activity? So take continuous action. Again, I'm going to talk here in a little bit about the flywheel concept and the doom loop. Ooh, doom loop. Yes, it was a bunch of men that wrote it, so the words are a little bit weird, but taking continuous action, we've talked about that one. And then use your action to overcome fear. Now, why do you think, I love that. Even Jesus was rejected by his hometown. So yes, absolutely. So use your action to overcome fear. So why is it, or anybody want to share tonight, why is it that, or an example of you were afraid of something, you took action, and you were able to overcome your fear? Anybody want to share, come off mute and share, or type in the comments below? Some point in time in your life where you were afraid, but yet you took action anyway and you overcame your fear. How many of you guys, while you're building up the courage, right, to overcome your fear tonight, how many of you guys have ever like shared a sample with somebody and they pulled out a knife and said, I'm going to cut you? Anybody? Anybody? Or how many of you have shared the opportunity with somebody and they said, I hate you, right? Like they just instantly hated you. Like they don't know you, but they hate you. How many of you guys, tried something and failed and then woke up the next day with like a big red mark on your face that said that person failed yesterday? Anybody? So Kimberly, you got your hand raised. You're going to come off mute and share. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I've just been in kind of a really odd place the last probably 9 months or so. And one, kudos to your training, because I literally was like in the kitchen avoiding going, messy action gets over your fear. Just go do it, go do it, go do it. And I went and I did like 10 follow-up reach outs things tonight right before the call. And I was like, yes, I got a small win. But I was just like, get over your fear, girlfriend. Come on. They can't come through the computer. They can just ignore you. I mean, I just told my daughter the other day, I'm like, all they can do is say no. That was on something else, but it's right here. It's what we have between our ears. What are we telling ourselves?
Yes. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kimberly. I really appreciate it. An awesome job, by the way. Somebody once said that the longest distance to achieving your goals is between your left ear and your right ear, right? And so that's that same mentality that you're talking about there. So thank you so much for Kimberly for sharing that. So again, I promise you, I know it's easier said than done, but the more you do it, as you get into action, you're going to overcome your fear. And then the other one, the last piece here with action is eliminate distractions. So it doesn't mean that you just forget about your kids and you forget about everything else in your life and only focus on your goals and dreams. But there's always going to be something that appears more fun or easier to do than taking action towards your goals and dreams. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you have kids or you have fur babies or you have a job or you have a family or you have a significant, it doesn't matter, right? The latest, greatest episodes of the Ozark is back on Netflix, right? And that is going, that's so much easier to take precedence over that. I don't know if that's a series. I saw that over the weekend that they were saying that lying people were saying that it was back. And I was like, I didn't know it was gone. But anyway, like you have to eliminate the distractions. So prioritize and understand who and what, because it can be a who, are distractions that are stopping you from living your goals and your dreams, and taking activity towards those. Again, I'm going to reference the New Year's post that Stuart said. He's like, being successful and being is hard. Being unsuccessful is hard. Choose your hard, right? And when we take the easier path, or we allow distractions, or we allow things to happen in our lives, we're choosing a hard. Life is hard, no matter what. Life is hard. Choose your hard. And I can promise you that going through the success cycle and keeping track in mind and coming back and forth with that, limiting distraction and doing this, is that path is hard, but I think it's a lot more rewarding, and I think it becomes easier as time goes on. Okay, so don't do TV, so that's easy, but flashing lights get me. I love it. Yeah, we can't have the twinkling lights on the Christmas tree because yeah, I'll sit there for hours. But anyway, okay, so this is the flywheel effect. And again, I'm pulling from Good to Great, which again is a great book. It's my business Bible. However, it is a business book, not a personal development book. If you like analytics and you like different things like that, I would recommend it. If you don't, then it is a hard, not fun read. But I'm pulling this concept from here, and I'm actually going to read word for word because I think the descriptive words of it, and I don't like reading a lot when I'm training, but I'm going to read it because I think it's super. It'll illustrate this image here. So picture, okay, everybody do this for me. Everybody close your eyes, okay, and just listen to my words, but close my eyes and try to visualize this, okay? Picture a huge, heavy flywheel. So first of all, a flywheel for those, this is not just cars, this is in all sorts of mechanical machinery, but a flywheel is a big, huge metal wheel, and it's got like gears on the end of it. And what it will do is it turns, it starts making the car move or different things move, but there's a ton of energy to get that going. So picture this, a huge, heavy flywheel, a massive metal disc mounted horizontally on an axle, about 30 feet in diameter, 2 feet thick, and weighing about 5,000 pounds. Now imagine that your task is to get the flywheel rotating on the axle as fast and as long as possible. Pushing with great effort, you'll get the flywheel to inch forward, moving almost imperceptibly at first, but pushing, and after 2 or 3 hours of persistent effort, you get the flywheel to complete one entire turn. You keep pushing and the flywheel begins to move a bit faster. With continued great effort, you move it around a second rotation. You keep pushing in a consistent direction, 3 turns, 4, 5, 6. The flywheel builds up speed, 7, 8. You keep pushing, 9, 10. It builds momentum, 11, 12. Moving faster with each turn, 20, 30, 50, 100. Then at some point, breakthrough. The momentum of the thing kicks in your favor, hurling the flywheel forward, turn after turn, whoosh. It's heavy weight working for you. You're pushing no harder than during the first rotation, but the flywheel goes faster and faster. Each time of the flywheel builds up upon work done earlier, compounding your investment of effort. 1,000 times faster, then 10,000, and then 100,000. The huge, heavy disc flies forward with almost unstoppable momentum. Now suppose someone came along and asked, what was the one big push that caused this thing to go so fast? You wouldn't be able to answer. It's nonsensical question. Was it the first push, the second, the fifth, the 100th? No, it was all of them added together in an overall accumulation of effort applied in a consistent direction. Some pushes may have been bigger than others, but any single heave, no matter how large, reflects a small fraction of the entire cumulative effort upon the flywheel. Okay, now you can open your eyes. Did you imagine that? Like, did you imagine, like, did you see like that first push, right? 2, 3 hours before you even got that first thing around. Now, this is like, when you think about the success cycle and you go through the dreams and you set the goals, and then you go to put the activity, it's always harder in the beginning to start. And that's the reason why I shared the flywheel concept, is because a lot of people, like, can you imagine sitting there on that metal wheel, just pushing the 5,000 pounds, just pushing, and it's not even moving, right? Most people give up and quit at that point because they're like, it's not even worth it, right? It's not even worth it. Like something's coming up, there's a distraction, it's this, it's that, it's this. But you have to become a doer and start doing activity in the beginning to get that flywheel going. As long as you're creating some sort of activity, and we'll start talking here in just a second about results and how to measure them, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent as you're going. So so the flywheel. So if you look at the here, you know, steps forward, consistent. The hedgehog concept in this book is, they describe the hedgehog, just so you kind of understand this one, is in business. So like if I was sitting down with Ray and Senior and Stuart, and we were going through this exercise, we would say, what is your hedgehog? And the hedgehog is, what are you the best at, better than anybody else in the world? What is your hedgehog? And so I like to use the flywheel concept in the success cycle, because I liken the hedgehog to your dreams, right? Like, again, we go back to every one of you is born with the seeds of greatness. So there is a talent and there's an ability and there is a impact that you were born to make on this earth. That's your hedgehog, right? And your dreams are leading you to the getting closer to your potential, that you are those seeds of greatness. And the goals get you there faster, and then the action, and then the results. So that's there. And then the accumulation of visual results, thus people line up and by energized results. And this is the other thing that's beautiful about this, is that in the success cycle, when you're starting out, many of you, even though you have people in your life, can and will feel alone, okay? But as you continue with the action and you continue pushing towards your goals and dreams, and you continue doing those things, and you start to build that momentum and the flywheel starts to go, inevitably people will start coming. Now, how many of you guys, by a show of hands, either you're in momentum in your business or you've had momentum in your business? Do you remember, like, when you have momentum in your business, like people just lined up to get into your business? Do you remember how easy it was? Do you remember like how easy it was, right? Francie's talking about it. Yeah, some of us are seeing some smiles. It was like people were like just lined up, like just I woke up, I signed people up all day and cash checks. That's all I did. It was so easy. And now it's hard again. But that's the reality is that when you continue, you push through this hard time and you continue with the action, you start to get the results, you're going to get that. You're going to start to build up momentum, and people will line up. They'll come, they'll see the excitement, they'll see the energy, they'll see you're progressing. It's human nature to want to be around people that are succeeding, that are winning, that are happy, that are growing, that are doing that. Like, and think about that in your own life, right? Like, how many, like, if you got some person A over here that is super successful, super happy, super energized, all of those things. And then you got somebody over here that's like super negative, never wants to do anything, the world's falling, it's coming to an end tomorrow, like all of those things. Who do you want to spend your time with, right? And that's the reality, is when you're in action and activity, you become this person, and people light up energized results. Thus the flywheel builds momentum, thus building belief. And in this industry, momentum, belief equals momentum. You have that belief, you do that, it's there. Yes, absolutely, Francis. Excitement rubs off on people. And Ryan, yes, you do have to be strict about this, and don't allow the Debbie Downers to get into your head. Absolutely. It's, again, you're all leaders on this call, right? So people are going to complain to you. People are going to do that. That's where we go back and have the conversation about filling our own cups before we pour into others, making sure our cup is full. And that, think of that, you know, as like me in my happy place and chasing my goals and dreams as a bulletproof vest. There's going to be negative bullets coming at you, but they'll be reflected, provided that it's there. So now we talked about the fun stuff. Let's talk about the doom loop. Okay. The doom loop. Okay, so just like the flywheel can create momentum and create things going faster this way, the doom loop is the backwards, right? So what happens with, and this is how you can start to feel yourself going into the doom loop, is that you start becoming reactionary without understanding. You start to replace your activity or actions with distractions. You start to do some things like that that pulls you back. Yeah, Becky, we don't like the doom loop. So you have the reaction, and you're making decisions based on reaction rather than stopping, thinking, like, remember the stop, list, like do, right, that part of activity. And so then you start a new direction. This here again is in the good to great here. So it's talking about program, leader, event, fad, or acquisition. And so what happens when the flywheel starts to go backward, starts the doom loop, is that you start to question things. You start to question, do the products really work? Does the compensation plan work for me? Does the company work? Is my upline the most supportive that he or she could be, right? Like you start, I see this could work for everybody else, but it can't work for me, right? Like you start to let those creeps and doubts happen, and then there's no buildup, no accumulated momentum. Thus you stop, remember, you stop, and then you start getting more and more disappointing results, and then that starts to go backwards. So Francis, you've raised your hand. Are you gonna say something? No, you're just saying, yep, I know that one. I've seen that. I've seen everybody else do that. That doesn't happen to me, right? Okay. So I do like that. This is the toxic loop. Yes. Francis, I still feel like you're going to say something. Are you going to say something to me? No. Okay. So, when you and this is another really good point here, the doom loop is, I really feel like at the end of this, that I hope as a leader, you take this and not only help you in your personal life, but that you help your team. Because when somebody, like, I can inevitably, anytime somebody sits down and talks to me about their business and not growing, and the products don't work, or the compensation don't work, or it says, it's like, are you kidding? We paid out over $1 billion. This, the claims, that because of the clinically backed products and ingredients and different things that we're doing, and those claims, like, this is inside secret trading stuff here, so don't share it with anybody. But there's so much stuff that the company's been doing behind the scenes that you're going to be able to see the ramping up of the claims that we're actually going to be able to make on their products, because we have the clinical data to support it, and the proof and all of the different things. Yes, right? Yes. In fact, we had a product meeting. We're launching a new product. Oh, did I just say that? At Monations, that's freaking awesome. And I was like, hey, so this isn't it, but I was like, hey, can we actually print right on the bottle these claims? Like, let's just print it like right on the bottle, right? But we'll have marketing to support it. So it's really super cool. But getting back to that, like the naysayers or the people that are negative or that are in the doom loop, is it's always a delicate balance, but you have to be able to get to a place where, and this is the thing I was talking about, Stephanie, tonight, is that the rubber has to meet the road, and that means that there has to be a reality check. Okay. And so if you're, I hope and pray, I don't believe you guys are, because you're on these calls and you're showing up and you're leaders, but at the end of the day, I hope that we are taking people and plugging them into the mentality of the flywheel as opposed to the doom loop. Okay. So let's talk about results. Like, what are 11 ways that we can identify if we're not getting the results that we want? Okay. Or that would stop us from getting our results. Okay. So I will be vulnerable here, and I will tell you that procrastination is like the devil, but it is like my Achilles heel. Like, I like to say that I'm busy. I like to say that I've always got something else that, I'll get that done. Yeah. I'll get that done. the number one reason why people don't get the results that they want is procrastination. They keep putting off the activity. They keep putting off the, yeah. I know nobody on this call, but I guarantee you that there's somebody that's gone through the success cycle that has still not sat down and written out their goals. Nobody on this call, but I guarantee you, right? I'll get to that. Well, here's one thing that's helped me with procrastination is that I've got big goals and I've got big dreams, okay? Every time I procrastinate, in my mind, I'm telling myself that I just put my goals or dreams off 1 week. And I'm 102 years old. Like, I'm not in my 20s like all of you. And I know that I've got like a certain period of time on this earth to leave my mark. So when I procrastinate and I push my goals and my dreams out another week, it infuriates me. That's the only motivation for me that makes it so I don't procrastinate. So 1, procrastination. So 2, underestimating your goal. Okay. Now, why would underestimating your goal be a reason that would make it so that you don't get the results that you want? And Teresa, you absolutely are in your 20s. The one reason that we would underestimate our goal is we don't put enough weight on our goals or dreams. That's what it's talking about when it says that we're underestimating your goal, because we either don't think that the goal or dream is attainable, or we don't think that it's worth the effort, or we think it's too far out of our reach and we underestimate it. If you get to this place where you're underestimating your goals and you're questioning your dreams, again, we don't change the goal or the dream, right? What we can do is we change the activity to get a different result, which would be we take smaller bite sizes of our goals. Remember, we talked about big goals and little goals. So the way that we don't underestimate our goals is we can go back to our goals and make smaller bite-sized pieces of it, if that makes sense. So, and then I threw this one in here. I think another big reason why people don't get the results they want is they underestimate themselves. So do not, and again, not getting political or spiritual, but if God put a dream in your heart, it is doable and it is worth it. And you're worth it. Okay. So never, ever, ever underestimate yourself. Remember the quote I told you that I live my life by. You'll never rise above the expectations that you set for yourself. Okay. 3, making excuses, right? It's, there's COVID. We're in a global pandemic. Nobody wants to learn about making money from home because they don't have to go to work or whatever, right? Like, there's more bald people than people with hair, right? Like we can make up a million different excuses, and if you're making up the excuse, I guarantee you're going to believe it, even though it's there. My big toe hurts, right? Exactly. My cat needs to be bathed tomorrow, right? Like we can make excuses. That's going to stop you from getting your results. Number 4, staying in your comfort zone. Again, it's hard to get out of your comfort zone, but I promise you it's equally, if not harder, to stay in your comfort zone. Number 5, not working smart. Now, what does it mean by not working smart? So doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of what? Anybody?
Insanity.
Insanity. Yes, exactly. Yes. That is not working smart. Doing the same things over and over again, not getting that. And that, that's like, okay, so wait a minute. Ryan just told me about the flywheel and activity and doing that until I get, I'm not saying that you don't consistently do activity. I'm just saying that, hey, if I have the same approach and I talk to 100 people and I get the same response with 100 people, I don't stop talking to people. I need to see and how I change my approach. Okay, see how that works? Don't stop talking to people, figure out the approach, figure out what it is you're saying. And a big part of that, I will tell you with the approach, is that you're not telling your story. Remember, people follow people, they don't follow products. Okay, they don't follow companies, they follow people. They don't follow compensation plans, they follow people, right? Like, I love Monat, I love the brand, I love everything that you guys have built. I'm falling more and more in love every single day. But the reason why I chose Monat in the beginning was Stuart, right? It wasn't like hair care. It wasn't like, yes, no one else is in the space. Like, I can tell you a million reasons why Monat is better than any other company, but it all comes back to people. People follow people, okay? There's another quote that says, products don't move people, people move products, okay? So work smarter, or, doing the same thing over and over, or counting on the same people over and over again. I've got these 3 people on my team. They show up every week. They're on all the calls, and they get all excited, and then they go home and they do nothing, right? And so you're there. Have I shared my tennis analogy with you guys before? Did I share that with you guys at all? The tennis analogy? Yes, no, maybe. So, okay, I'm going to pick on Lisa. Okay, so Lisa and I, we go to play tennis because Lisa looks like a tennis player. I personally don't exercise because I swear when I sweat, but Lisa is a tennis player. So she talks me into going to play tennis with her. We walk out onto the court and she hits the ball to me. And I just stand there and watch the ball go by, right? So Lisa's like, hey, he didn't see it coming, right? So she gets another ball and she hits it to me and I just stand there and watch it go by. How many times is she going to hit the ball to me before she stops hitting the ball, right? That's the same thing when we start talking about working smart with people, is that you continue to hit the ball to them, but if they're not going to hit the ball back with you, they're not playing tennis with you, eventually they can be on the court, they can be on your team, they can be in your life, but stop hitting the ball to them. Okay, this is about working smart, right? It doesn't mean that eventually I'm going to be like, hey, I'm 50 pounds overweight, I need to go exercise, I'm going to call Lisa and I'm going to go play tennis and I'm going to show back up and I'm going to try this time, right? Like, at the end of the day, there's that working smarter. Okay, 6, caving to fear. I think we've talked about this one, right? There. When I was this will probably date me a little bit. When I was a sophomore in high school, the first car that I restored and built was the 1966 Mustang. Okay. And I thought I was the coolest cat at school because I had a sticker across the front of my windshield that said, "Fear this." You guys remember any of those stickers? You guys are probably all too young for that, right? But like, I was like, man, I was a arrogant SOB, right? Like, I was like the cool cat at school because fear this, like, fear me, right? Like, I walked in, I could do nothing wrong. Becky remembers, I love that. Ryan remembers, perfect. So caving to fear. Again, if God puts a dream in your heart, you can achieve it and you're worth achieving it. Don't let fear stop you. Number 7, getting distracted. Okay, we talked about that a little while ago. Won't spend more time on that. Number 8, overcomplicating situations. How many of you guys have been in a situation and you're like, oh my gosh, I do not know how I'm going to get out of this. I want to crawl underneath the covers and not come out for weeks until this passes. Like, we just, like, in our head, this is the worst thing ever, right? Like, yep, right, you do that. And then you come out of it on the other side and you look back and you're like, really? Like, that was nothing, right? Like, it was absolutely nothing. And that is a big part of what we were talking earlier, right? Like, it was something that we were just saying a little while ago, which is we get in our heads, right? Like, we stop that and we complicate things. So number 8, 9, there's only 3 more here. Number 9, giving up too easily. Now, again, I pray that each and every one of you that's gone through this success cycle, that you're not going to give up on your goals and dreams, because you know you're worth it. You know you can make it happen. You can do that. Do not give up, right? So again, a lot of these results and why people aren't getting results that they want, you can reference these and help coach your team, but it's not happening to you, right? 10, losing sight of your goals and dreams. This is a big one. And the talking point here is that you'll see people who are that they're too busy focusing on the activity or focusing on the results that they lose sight of why they're doing the activity or doing that. And if you go back to that doom loop, that was one of the steps that started that doom loop, is that you lose sight of your goals and dreams. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And that's why it's super important that you have your goals written out. You have your dream, you have your goals, you have it written out, and reference them continuously. Where are they printed out? Where are they written down? Where are you going to see them? You know, like for me, I've got Post-it notes everywhere, but I'm not recommending that. That's probably not the best system, but it works for me, right? Don't lose sight of your goals. And then finally, number 11 is being rigid. And so that is, and I really don't believe that this pertains to any one of you on this call, because you wouldn't show up each week, right? You wouldn't show up trying to better yourself. But being rigid, insisting on doing things a certain way without being open to new ideas. And just like life is a continuously evolving, growing thing, so is this business, so is this industry. Something that worked for you 4 years ago might not work for you today, right? And so being consistent and tenacious with chasing your goals and dreams, you're going to find that path to help you move forward. And so there's a, did I share the rat study with you guys before? Have I shared that with you guys at all? Yes, being coachable and humble. Yeah, absolutely. Did I share the rat study with you guys at all? And I'm sharing these stories with you so that you guys can use them to reference back for yourself or do that. If I told you the story, go ahead and stop me. So there was, this was many years ago, and we don't test on animals here at Monet, which is great. But they did a study where they took these rats and they put them in a bucket of water, okay? And they wanted to see how long these rats could tread water, okay, before they drowned, okay? A little bit crass, but nonetheless a study. How long do you think a rat dropped in a bucket of water could tread water before it drowned? Anybody, any thoughts? Want to throw out a thoughts or in the comments, anybody? No, you guys are like, this is just way too crass. Where's he going with this? 10 minutes, good. That is great, great guess. Close. 30, okay, great guess. Hours, great. Okay, I'll kill the suspense. The rat dropped in the water can tread water for 15 minutes before it drowns. Okay, 15 minutes. Okay, so that was the first part of the study. The second part of the study is they took a rat, dropped it in the bucket of water, and just before the 15-minute mark, before it stopped treading water and drowned, they grabbed the rat and pulled it out. Okay. And then without even waiting another day, they dried it off, dropped it back in the bucket. How long do you think the rat went before it drowned again? Anybody thoughts? Any questions?
The same amount of time.
14 hour, 14 minutes, 10 minutes, 18 minutes. Okay. This is a real study, and I can show you the to back it up. 60 hours. The rat sat there and treaded for 60 hours. Same rat, same bucket of water. The only difference was before it drowned the first time, they grabbed it and pulled it out. Okay. The study is based on the power of your mind. Okay. They were doing the power of the mind. The rat was able to last 60 hours. Why? Because it believed something was going to come save it. Think about it, 60 hours, 15 minutes to 60 hours. And that's the thing that I would say here with the results. And when we get back into the success cycle, right? Is that I want, like, it's not like we're asking you to do something that nobody else has done before, okay? We're not asking you to do something that you can't do or that you shouldn't do or that isn't worth doing, okay? But once you have that mentality that somebody's here to support you, somebody's here to do that, I can accomplish my goals, I can do that, you will be able to press through anything. And again, not spiritual or political, but I truly believe that God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. Okay. Remember, little struggles equal big victories, big struggles equal big victories. And so as we start talking about the results, I want you to get the results, measure, right? Like I want you to look back at the activity and the results that I'm getting. Am I getting closer to my goals and dreams? Report, right? Report to your accountability, report to yourself, report to your upline, report to your team, report to your significant other, whoever is there cheering you on to hit your goals and dreams, right? Report, and then analyze the results, measure, report, results, measure, report, results, measure, report, thus leading to success. So again, success cycle. Dreams lead to goals, goals lead to action. We change the activity, not the goals and dreams, till we get the results we want, thus leading us to success. And so in the famous words of Winston Churchill, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And I know that to be on a shadow of a doubt. Like I've seen tens of thousands, and that's not an exaggeration, tens of thousands of people's lives change because they had a dream in their heart. They wrote the goals down. They created the activity. They weren't afraid to go out and share their story to get the results and the success that they deserved, thus getting them to a better life. And that's really at the end of the day. So when Stephanie put this together, it wasn't to build her team. It wasn't to build her check. It wasn't this. It was because she believes in each and every one of you and wanted to pour into you to make you guys better and let you guys know that you're there. And so do not be afraid to share your story. Please open your mouth, share your story. You never know when you're going to come across somebody that can relate or somebody that needs to hear your story. And then I'll say one last quote. So this hung on my grandmother's wall, and it said, yesterday is already a dream. Tomorrow is only a vision, but each day well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness and every tomorrow a vision of hope. And I think that was Eleanor Roosevelt that said that. And again, every one of your tomorrows is not going to go to according to plan, but I promise you with every fiber of my being, if you wake up every day with a dream in your heart, and you're doing some activity to get you closer to your goals and dreams, and you're measuring those results, you're going to get the success that not only you want, but that you deserve. And so I am grateful. This doesn't have to end here, right? But that is the success cycle training. So I just, I want you to know that Stephanie, myself, Stuart, Ray, we're all here to support you 1000%. Like we're here to do anything we can to help you guys be successful. So I'm really grateful for the time that I've had with you guys. And I really appreciate it. It's definitely made me a stronger, better person by being with you guys. And I thank you for that. So Stephanie, back to you, my friend, unless there's questions about tonight.
If you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat. But Ryan, I just want to say thank you. Like truly, truly, truly from the bottom of my heart, because so many people, I mean, this has made a huge impact on me. And so many people have talked about what a huge impact it has made on them. And just being able to even like get back into their business and kind of start dreaming again and start writing those goals and taking that next step. So many people have been stuck, for lack of a better word, but just not moving their business forward. And you have given us so much hope, like seriously, truly, honestly. And so we are so thankful for the time that you have spent with us, and we are going to miss you, but
Oh.
we are going to find some way to get you back on a call with us.
I love it. I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. And thanks to each and every one of you. And yeah, I'm not going here. I'm spending the next 102 years of my life here with Monat. So anything I can do to help.
We're going to hold you to that. We will hold you to that.
Yes, I'm not going anywhere. I love it here. I finally found my home. So thank you.
So glad. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, we will hop off, and thank you again, Ryan, and everybody have a great evening. Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone. Appreciate you. God bless. Bye-bye.